Saint Faustina, the woman who saw hell and found mercy. What does mercy look like? Is it soft? Is it easy? Is it the absence of justice? Or is it something far more terrifying and far more beautiful? These are questions the modern world struggles to answer. We speak of mercy like it's weakness, like it's tolerance without truth, like it's God looking the other way while the world burns. But what if mercy is not the absence of judgment? What if it's the answer to it? What if mercy is God's final weapon against the darkness, offered freely, desperately, urgently, before the door closes forever? In a small convent in Poland, in the 1930s, a young nun was given a mission that would shake the church and change millions of lives. Her name was Faustina. She was uneducated, unknown, overlooked by the world. But God chose her to carry a message the world was about to need more than ever. A message written in blood and light. A message of divine mercy. She saw visions that broke her heart. She visited hell and came back weeping. She encountered Jesus face to face and wrote down his words in a small diary that would become one of the most powerful spiritual documents of the 20th century. She didn't perform miracles of healing or multiplying bread. Her miracle was simpler and more profound. She taught the world how to receive mercy and how to give it. This is her story, not told in theology textbooks, but in moments, in visions, in suffering and surrender, in a love so fierce it burned through every barrier between heaven and earth. This is the story of what happens when God looks at someone ordinary and asks them to carry something extraordinary. Not fame, not comfort, but mercy itself. Mercy is not weakness. It is the final offer of love before justice falls, and God is still offering it today. The girl from Głogowiec. Picture a village in rural Poland, Głogowiec, 1905. Fields of wheat stretching to the horizon, dirt roads, wooden houses with thatched roofs. Life is simple, hard, shaped by seasons and soil. In a small cottage, the third of 10 children is born. Her name is Helena Kowalska. Her family is poor. Her father is a carpenter, his hands rough from work. Her mother prays constantly, her rosary never far from her fingers. There's never enough. Never enough food, never enough money, never enough warmth in the winter. But there is faith. The family prays together. They go to Mass. They trust God even when life is relentless. Helena is different from her siblings. Quiet, sensitive. She sees things others don't see. At 7 years old, she's kneeling in church when she hears it. A voice. Clear, gentle, unmistakable. Not out loud, but inside her heart. More real than any sound her ears have ever heard. Follow me. She looks around. No one else heard it. No one else moved. But Helena knows. God spoke to her. From that moment, something shifts inside her. A longing, a pull toward something she can't name yet. She wants to give her life to God completely. To become a nun. To live hidden, poor, devoted. But her parents say no. She's too young. They need her. They can't afford to lose another working hand. So Helena obeys. She works. She helps raise her siblings. She takes jobs as a housekeeper in nearby towns, sending money home. But the voice doesn't leave her. Follow me. It echoes in her heart during Mass, during work, during sleepless nights. At 20 years old, she's at a dance, music, laughter, friends around her. And suddenly, she sees him, Jesus, standing in the corner of the room, his face full of sorrow, his body covered in wounds, bleeding, torn, suffering. He looks at her, into her, through her, and he speaks. How long will you keep running from me? Helena's heart breaks. She leaves the dance immediately. She walks to the cathedral. She kneels before the tabernacle and weeps. Lord, what do you want me to do? The answer is clear. Go to Warsaw. Enter a convent. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't ask permission this time. She takes what little she has and leaves for Warsaw. She knocks on the doors of convents, one after another. Most turn her away. She has no dowry, no education, no connections. But finally, one opens. The Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy. They accept her. Barely. She will be a sister of the second class. The ones who do manual labor, not teaching or nursing. The ones no one notices. Helena Kowalska becomes Sister Maria Faustina. And her real life begins. God does not call the impressive. He calls the willing. And he uses the hidden to reveal the greatest truths. The convent and the call. The convent is strict. Wake before dawn. Prayer. Work. Silence. Obedience. Faustina scrubs floors. She works in the kitchen. She tends the garden. Her hands blister. Her back aches. She is invisible to the world, but she is not invisible to God. In the chapel, during adoration, she begins to see things. Jesus appears to her, not in dreams, not in metaphors. He stands before her, real. His sacred heart exposed, radiating light. His eyes full of love and sorrow. He speaks to her, not in riddles, not in abstractions. Clear, direct, personal. I want you to paint an image of me as you see me now. With the words, Jesus, I trust in you. Faustina is terrified. She's not an artist. She's barely educated. She's nobody. How can she do this? But Jesus is insistent. I want this image to be a reminder of my mercy. I want souls to trust in me. She tells her confessor. He's skeptical. He thinks she's imagining things. Nuns have vivid spiritual lives, sometimes too vivid. But Faustina obeys. She finds a painter. She describes the vision as best she can. The result is the image the world now knows, Jesus in white robes. 2 rays of light streaming from his heart, one red, one pale. His right hand raised in blessing, his left hand over his heart. The words beneath, Jesus, I trust in you. But the image is only the beginning. Jesus appears to her again and again. He dictates words, messages, prayers. He shows her visions of hell. She writes in her diary, I saw a place of great torment. Souls there were suffering terribly. I saw demons and the souls of the damned. The suffering was so great, I thought I would die from the horror of it. But Jesus tells her why he showed her this. So you can tell souls how much they are loved. So they know there is still time. So they understand mercy is available now, but it will not be available forever. He gives her a prayer, simple, powerful. For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. He tells her to pray it on rosary beads, to offer it for sinners, for the dying, for those who have no one to pray for them. This becomes the Divine Mercy Chaplet. He also gives her a promise. I want the first Sunday after Easter to be the feast of Divine Mercy. Whoever approaches the fountain of life on that day will be granted complete forgiveness of sins and punishment. Faustina writes it all down, every word, every vision, every encounter. Her diary becomes a record of conversations between a peasant girl and the God of the universe, and through her, a message goes out to the world. Mercy is real. It's not a concept. It's a person. And his name is Jesus. God's greatest messages often come through the smallest messengers, because he wants the message to be clear. It's not about the vessel, it's about the voice. The vision of hell and the urgency of mercy. One night, Faustina is praying in her cell. Suddenly, she's not there anymore. She's standing at the edge of an abyss, a place of darkness so complete it's like all light has been swallowed. The air is thick with despair. The heat is unbearable. The stench is suffocating. She sees souls, human souls, writhing, screaming, burning, not just in fire, but in the absolute absence of God. They chose this. She understands that immediately. They rejected mercy. They rejected love. They rejected every invitation God gave them. And now, mercy is no longer available. Demons swarm through the darkness, mocking, torturing, delighting in the pain of the damned. Faustina can't breathe. She's overwhelmed by the horror, by the finality. This is forever. She wants to look away. She can't. And then, Jesus is beside her. He doesn't explain. He doesn't justify. He simply says, I brought you here so you would know what I am saving souls from, so you would understand why mercy matters, so you would tell them, there is still time. When Faustina returns to her cell, she collapses. She weeps for hours. She writes in her diary, if souls could only understand what they are rejecting, if they could see what awaits those who refuse mercy, no one would ever sin again. From that moment, her life becomes an urgent mission. She prays constantly for sinners, for the dying, for those on the edge of hell. She offers her suffering, and there is much of it, for their salvation. She becomes ill, tuberculosis. It ravages her body. She coughs blood. She can barely stand, but she doesn't ask for healing. She offers the pain, every moment of it. Take my suffering, Lord. Use it to save souls. Jesus tells her, your smallest act of love offered for sinners can save many. She believes him, and she gives everything. Hell is real, but so is mercy, and as long as there is breath, there is hope. God is offering his hand. Will we take it? The diary and the message. Faustina's confessor tells her to write everything down, every vision, every word Jesus speaks, every encounter. She obeys. She's not a writer. Her spelling is poor. Her grammar is simple. She has no formal training, but she writes. Late at night, after long days of work, she sits with a pencil and paper and pours out her soul. The diary is raw, honest, intimate. It reads like letters between friends, between a soul and her Savior. Jesus speaks to her about mercy, about trust, about the infinite ocean of his love. He tells her, "Souls perish in spite of my bitter passion. I am giving them the last hope of salvation, the feast of my mercy. If they will not adore my mercy, they will perish for all eternity." He shows her his heart, wounded, bleeding, breaking over the souls who reject him. He tells her, "I desire that priests proclaim this great mercy of mine toward souls of sinners. Let the sinner not be afraid to approach me. The flames of mercy are burning me. I desire to pour them out upon souls." The message is clear. God is not distant, not cold, not waiting to condemn. He is desperate to save, desperate to forgive, desperate to pour out mercy, if only we will receive it. But Faustina also sees something else. Mercy has a limit. Not because God is cruel, but because God respects human freedom. There comes a moment when the door closes, when the time for mercy ends and the time for justice begins. And that moment is closer than we think. Faustina writes, "Before I come as a just judge, I am coming first as the King of mercy. Before the day of justice arrives, there will be given to people a sign in the heavens. The message is urgent. Time is running out. Receive mercy now. While it's still available, trust in Jesus. Surrender. Repent. Turn back. Because the day is coming when mercy will no longer be offered. And on that day, only justice will remain. God's mercy is infinite, but it is not eternal. There is a time for mercy and a time for judgment, and we do not know how much time we have left. The suffering servant. Faustina's health deteriorates. The tuberculosis spreads. Her lungs fail. She coughs constantly. Blood stains her handkerchief. She loses weight. Her body weakens. She's sent to the sanatorium, then back to the convent, then to the sanatorium again. The sisters care for her as best they can, but there's no cure, no treatment, just slow, painful decline. Faustina is 28 years old, and she's dying. But she doesn't complain. She doesn't ask why. She offers it. Every cough, every sleepless night, every moment of pain, for souls, for sinners, for those who have no one to pray for them. Jesus tells her, "You are a living sacrifice. Your suffering, united to mine, saves countless souls." She believes him. She trusts him. Even when the pain is unbearable, even when she feels forgotten, even when the darkness presses in and she wonders if God is still there, she trusts. "Jesus, I trust in you." Those words become her lifeline, her anchor, her prayer in the storm. She writes in her diary, "I have come to understand that suffering is the greatest treasure on earth. It purifies the soul. It unites us to Christ. It saves others." She's not romanticizing suffering. She's not pretending it doesn't hurt. She's simply saying, it's worth it. If my pain can save even one soul from hell, it's worth it. If my suffering can open the floodgates of mercy for even one sinner, it's worth it. She lives this truth until her final breath. On October 5th, 1938, at the age of 33, Faustina dies. Quietly, peacefully. Her last words, "Jesus, I trust in you." The sisters who cared for her think that's the end. A simple nun, a short life, a quiet death. But it's only the beginning. The greatest saints are often those who die unknown, but their hidden sacrifices echo through eternity, saving souls they will never meet. The spread of divine mercy. After Faustina's death, her diary is locked away. The visions are questioned. The messages are doubted. The Church is cautious, rightfully so. For years, divine mercy is suppressed. The image is banned. The chaplet is discouraged. But something happens. People start praying it anyway, quietly, secretly. They pass the prayer from hand to hand. They whisper about the Polish nun who saw Jesus, and miracles begin. Healings, conversions, souls pulled back from the brink. In 1978, a Polish cardinal becomes pope, John Paul II. He grew up near Faustina's convent. He knew her story. He prayed the chaplet himself. And when he becomes pope, he does something extraordinary. He opens the cause for her canonization. He reinstates the Feast of Divine Mercy. He declares to the world, "This message is for our time." In the year 2000, on Divine Mercy Sunday, Pope John Paul II canonizes Sister Faustina. She becomes Saint Faustina Kowalska, and he says, "This is the answer our world needs. Not judgment, not condemnation, but mercy." The image of divine mercy spreads across the globe. Churches, homes, hospitals, prisons. The chaplet is prayed by millions every day. The Feast of Divine Mercy becomes one of the most celebrated days in the Catholic Church. And Faustina's diary, once hidden, once banned, becomes a spiritual classic. Because the message she carried is timeless. God is mercy, and mercy is still available. A message suppressed by men cannot be suppressed by God. If it is true, it will rise. And divine mercy has risen to reach the ends of the earth. The legacy and the invitation. Saint Faustina never preached to crowds. She never wrote theology. She never led movements or built institutions. She scrubbed floors. She prayed in silence. She suffered in obscurity. And yet, through her, God released a tidal wave of mercy that is still flooding the world. The message she carried is simple. Trust in Jesus. No matter how far you've fallen, no matter what you've done, no matter how many times you've failed, His mercy is greater. The vision she had of hell was not meant to terrify. It was meant to awaken, to remind us that choices matter, that eternity is real, that we don't have forever to decide. But the vision of Jesus, with His rays of mercy streaming from His heart, that was meant to give hope. Because mercy is always the first offer. Justice comes only when mercy is refused. Faustina's life was short. Her suffering was great. But her message is eternal. And it's the message God is still speaking today. To you. Right now. In whatever darkness you're walking through. Whatever sin you're carrying. Whatever shame is crushing you. Jesus is saying the same thing He said to Faustina. Trust in me, not in your strength, not in your worthiness, not in your ability to fix yourself. In me, in my mercy. Faustina saw hell, but she also saw the heart of Jesus, and His heart is still burning with mercy, still reaching out, still offering. The question is not whether God's mercy is big enough for you. It is. The question is, Will you receive it? Will you trust him? Saint Faustina wrote, "The greater the sinner, the greater the right to my mercy." That's not permission to sin. That's an invitation to return. No matter how far you've run, no matter how many times you've turned away, the door is still open. Mercy is still flowing. But it won't flow forever. There is a time for mercy and a time for judgment, and no one knows when that time will end. So trust him. Now. Today. Say the words Faustina said 1,000 times. Jesus, I trust in you. And watch what happens. Because the same Jesus who appeared to a peasant girl in Poland still appears to broken hearts today. The same mercy that saved millions through her prayers is still saving souls right now. The same God who spoke to Saint Faustina still speaks to you. The same mercy that flowed through her is offered to you today. Will you trust him?